Hey, Butch.
All righty. Well, Scott, how you been, bud?
Just hanging out.
Yeah, hanging out.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, I thought that was your girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Might as well be. She listens better than any girlfriend I ever had.
Hey now.
We're married. It's different.
What a save. That's a save. That's a good save. Well, hello, folks. We're going to try something a little different here
Yep.
for the next couple of weeks.
Try to stay warm. It's cold as
It's what?
it's cold out there.
Yeah, it's cold out there.
Jeez.
We don't want to be out there. We're not really coming up with something new. We're just so we get. It dawned on me listening to a lot of different, looking at stuff, on the internet. There's a huge misunderstanding or lack of knowledge, I don't know which, about guard dogs and about the way dogs bite and the way dogs fight and what makes them want to do it, what motivates them, all this stuff. I think the ultimate protection dog, whether it be for police, military, whatever, is trained with the old guard dog methods, because these guys for decades at least train dogs to stand up and fight on their own, no backup. And so anyway, I think if people saw a little bit more things that could be done. Remember, any sport, and most of even our police work comes from sports, because sports people are the only ones that are writing down what they're doing. So that's when you're a new person, you got to go to the sports people to find some material to read, and that's good. Except remember one basic of all sports: no matter what the sport, I don't care if it's agility, IGP, XYZ, whatever, it's mostly about some human devising something for another human to do just to prove he can't. I got a dog to do this. It's like when they first brought Schutzen over here and they did the tracking, and all the search and rescue people were up in arms. Dogs don't train footstep vacuum cleaner, I call it training. That's not how but it's the only way they could set that up for a human to judge if the dog was following the track, because the human can't smell what the dog's smelling. So everything's set up, and so you had to break a dog's natural way of doing something and reshape and get him to do it in a human concept, in a human way. Mm-hmm. All sports are based on control by a human. Make sense?
Yes.
So, and I found all this stuff out when I got out of the sport dog world and got into the guard dog company. Like I'm saying, I had every book ever written on dog training, and when I got to guard dogs, I had to throw it all away, because guard dogs had never read those books. So what we're going to try to do is get some real information out. We're going to talk about some of the things that I did with my guard dogs that I've never seen, done anywhere else. Maybe it'll help you in your everyday training. I hope it does. That's the purpose. And maybe you can improve on the way we do it. Mm-hmm. If you can, sure write in, let us know.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
It's always evolving. There's always something every day. There's many ways to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, right?
Yep.
There's all different methods, and I saw some people doing some heels, and they were using box trainings with wooden boxes they made, and they were just with puppies, to a heel in the box, and brought the box next to him. This is just, I never seen this.
Huh.
Had the box set up, the dog would come and heel would stop because there was a frame on the ground.
Okay.
So they trained the puppy sitting there with the puppy, making it walk up, and it would stop and they'd give it a treat. So it'd sit in the box.
In the box.
It's a three-sided 2x4s.
Right.
Three-sided. So it's like this, and the dog walks in, and it'll stop here, and it'll stop and sit. So the condition training.
Okay.
So she was doing it, and she had it on the side for a heel, kept doing it, and then took it away, and the dog, boom, boom. This was over a 4-week period. Just conditioning the dog. And I never thought of give a dog a boundary.
Yeah.
I didn't know. You know, give a dog a boundary. It's like we use a fence or a wall to keep him tight to heel.
Right. Yeah.
Same
exactly.
typical thing.
Same, yeah. But in front of the dog.
In front of the dog, yeah. So there's on both sides. The dog can't fear. Because most dogs will first start healing, they'll come to the side. You know how they are.
Right.
They come out. But it was, and just started repetition, and the lady from Germany. It's all German. So anyway, it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, you know, just something.
How old were the pups?
The shepherd was. They started off. They were freaking 10 weeks.
Wow, they started that young.
Yeah, and I think she was 10. By 15 weeks, she was healing. Off leash.
I rest my case.
So I mean, you know,
A lot of ways
there's
to
a
do
lot of
stuff.
ways to do stuff. You know,
Yeah.
Practical. It's not really difficult.
Right.
If you can understand a dog and learn to read dogs, that's another thing. You know, you got to read dogs, right? You know, you got to build a relationship and be friends with your dogs, but you got to also know how to read a dog. And a lot of people out there, I've been watching and talking to some people, and the biggest problem is that people do not know how to read a dog correctly.
I would agree in spades.
I mean, it's easy, but it's not, you know. And
Right.
you got to know what you're looking for too. There's different ways. There's different things you look for, you know. If you're doing protection training, or you're doing obedience, or you're doing search and rescue, there's certain traits you
Yep.
got to learn to read.
Yep.
I mean, a protection dog and a search and rescue dog ain't the same.
No.
You know, what you're looking for to read them. You know what the dog, your search and rescue, you know what you're looking for.
Right.
And protection, you know what you're doing. And especially during the training process is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You know, once you get to do that, anyway, I'll be quiet, but
Well, no. I mean, that's
you know,
that's the whole. That's what we're going to try and address in this. We're going to do a series, and the last book I ever saw written that was informative and had meaning and information was written in the 1960s. The Kohler Method of Guard Dog Training. Since then, I have seen at least a dozen books written on. Well, they don't call it guard dog training anymore, but they call it personal protection training. Or
like Gary Patterson has a good book.
Patterson had the only other one that's been the least bit informative, and it's fantastic.
And it's a sport, more for sport, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's strictly
It's for
Schutzhund.
Schutzhund. But if you can use all that, if you take it and, like I said, you can take something and you do it, and you adjust it and you put it in your catalog. If it works,
Right.
you can get it to work and it works for you. You put it in your catalog. Mm-hmm. And some of that Patterson stuff is very, very. We use it here.
Yeah,
I learned it.
use it every day.
Yeah, it works good. And Schutzhund it's amazing, right?
Yeah,
That's a whole different book, though. That's a whole different mentality, because it's every step is step by step is taken, trained and trained and trained.
right.
Every
Repetition,
little
repetition,
every
repetition.
little step.
Yep.
It ain't from here to here,
No.
you know, and it's all a build up,
Yep.
and it's repetition till that step is complete and perfected. You don't go to the next step,
Right.
and if you don't get it, you might have to go back 2 steps and start over again. Keep going in.
And when you're going, like I said, those are the only 2 books I've ever seen that had substantial real information. And I get somebody sent me a thing on something, man stoppers or something. And when you read the book, it's just some guy who's got a dog that bites. Uh-oh. And they're just kind of telling stories, you know. So what happens, I discovered, is with hands-on actual work, is that I read Patterson's book, and I had been working for various Schutzhund clubs as their helper for 8 or 9 years at the time I got his book, and it changed everything I had heard by going to seminars and talking to other trainers. Mr. Patterson was one of the top competitors in the world for several years. So, I knew he knew what he was talking about. When I started going to the guard dogs, it was a different way to do, but what I found was the way he starts his dogs to start biting works for any dog. Because you got to get them, remember what I said in guard dog, what we're looking for is to teach them how to fight after the bite, not how to go get a full mouth bite and go, 50 points. Once they bite, that's when the training kicks in. But Patterson and his system was the perfect way to get any dog started, and Kohler and his system was the way to get any dog to start doing good bite work, guard dog bite work. So what we're going to try to do over the next several weeks is take the best of those systems and then take some of the techniques, for instance, that I learned about in the guard dog business, dealing specifically with guard dogs. And we're going to try to put it all together in a way that might be informative. For instance, one of my favorite things is, well, there's two things. Here, let me start over. If you're going to go in the guard dog business, you're going to learn real quick. There's two things you have to concentrate on the dog to be successful. The first one is what I call display. You teach a dog how to respond to someone walking at a fence. If they're intimidating enough when that person walks up to the fence, you don't have to worry about anybody getting bit and taking anyone to the hospital. Because if they're intimidating enough, game's over. You know, for some of you, for old school folks, Gypsy Stratton with his, I think what he calls it, no bite defense or something like that, where he said, you know, an intimidating alert, the dog ain't gonna have to bite nobody because you're gonna scare the snot out of them. Same thing applies. And what I learned was there's different ways dogs can go to the fence. One of the, and Scott knows, I think the toughest, badassest guard dog in the world was a Rottweiler named Samson.
Mm-hmm.
And Samson, when he went to the fence, he didn't go to the fence and crouch down and go, "Arr!" And he didn't just go grab the fence and pull the wire. These are both legitimate ways. And you can teach a dog to approach someone at the other side of the fence like that. Samson modified it. He did what I call Michael Jordan style. You'd come up to the fence, and if you were 5'2", when you got to that fence, if you looked at him for more than 10 seconds without moving, he would leap into the air, and then when he got to the peak of his jump, he would just go, "Arr, arr, arr, arr," and slobber would start slinging, and he'd hit the ground. If you were 6'2", he'd wait till you got to the fence, and he would launch in the air, and he would stop and go, "Arr, arr, arr," and sling slobber. The unique thing about him was, when he stopped, he was always eye level to eye level with whoever he was wanting to get or scare. These are all things you can teach a dog to a degree. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to go about from here on out.
Yep.
I guess the first thing is, remember if you're in the guard dog business, you're not going to be dealing with pedigrees. So if you're big on pedigrees and genetics, that ain't the business for you. You're going to get dogs. You're going to get people that want to, you know. I got a bunch of military. We're at Fort Bliss in El Paso, and a bunch of the wives come back from Germany, and their husband gets transferred to Korea. They got to stay at home, and hubby bought a Rottweiler while he was in Germany, real high dollar, fancy dog, right? Mm-hmm. And now hubby's gone. Man, dog eats too much. He'd rather spend the money on perfume. Call the guard dog company. Hey, I got a such and such pedigree, $100. Yes, ma'am. You know, and then you have the people like I won't go ahead. Anyway, you're going to get a lot of your dogs are going to come off the street. So pedigrees, if you need a pedigree to train your dog, you're in the wrong business. Mm-hmm. And every dog you bring in, I probably had a 70% success rate with getting dogs to stand their ground and fight. And some of them were 6 months old, and some of them were 16 years old, but they'd all go for it. The big thing we're going to work on in the beginning is, after, I'm assuming you already got a dog that's biting. When he makes the bite, you want to go from there, what we try to get our dogs to do with their feet and everything. Mm-hmm.
So basically you want the dog to engage, right? You don't want a dog biting and hanging. Bite and hang, you know, just sucking on that sleeve or sucking on that jacket. You want to get a dog to be active, interactive, meaning you need to teach a dog defense using his body also, and leverage also. So use their legs.
Yeah.
So you're pulling up, and the dog's hitting you with the legs, and it becomes becomes natural. The dog pull back, right?
Yep.
So you start getting the dog to come up and use his legs and tap you, and you let him down, and he'll pull. Sorry, he's kind of thirsty over there. But you start working the dog a certain way, and you'll start using his legs, and you're incorporating the bite and the body now.
Right.
Right.
Keep on. I'm gonna get something to show him. I think. Keep on.
So basically, you start working the dog using his legs, pulling up, pulling down. All of a sudden, it comes natural. When the dog takes a bite, he pushes off on you, then he's pushing back, and he's pulling you, getting you off balance, right? And also, we started doing, we call it a rebite, right? Type riding. So you go from a leg bite to an arm bite. You're switching that. In this technique too, you're coming up, and he's coming up. You see a lot of these dogs taking bites, and their legs are just hanging up front. Their whole body is very important. Also, when the dog's on a bite, he pulls down. You start swinging at him. What happened?
Oh, I'm looking at that picture of Osa.
Oh. So you start
That's
doing
a perfect
defense. Dog is
example.
moving, legs are coming up. There's always focus on the bite primarily, but you start taking in steps to get the dog to come down. And that's what that style is. And it's, you're pulling smooth, dropping smooth, and he's coming up and he's coming down. So, that's pretty much what I got right there on that. But you can also, using sleeves,
Give me that one.
primarily sleeves is what
What's
you
that?
want to use with all that too. So,
Up there. Yep.
you guys coming back or what?
Yes.
They're
Nope.
over there
Nope.
eating sausages. Come here, Ed.
All right. Let's go. Let's go back. Scott, let Scott hold in the bag
Yeah.
here.
But I was just telling them how we use the sleeves
Right.
and how to bring the dog up. And when he taps you on your leg first, you drop him.
Yep.
You start working. All of a sudden, it comes natural. The dog will start when you're giving. Another thing is, you'll see people stop and post him when he's pulling, right? Mm-hmm. And you pull him back up. Sometimes you got to go with the dog.
Yep.
Once he starts going and you give, you might have to take a step forward or two. When he's digging in, you got to let him go a bit, right?
Right.
Then you're coming back, you're regrounding, and you're coming back up. Now, this is important for the handler to understand also. Now, you don't always have a handler and a guard dog, but when you're using
Right.
handlers,
Start off
you
teaching,
can't,
yeah.
you can't lock the dog off the bite where he's and he's done, because you're just wasting your time there. But then another way to do it is off of sleeves. If you want to do that also, you can also use wedges.
Oh yeah.
You use a wedge, right? And the wedges are very good to get a dog to bite harder, developing the bite, deeper bites.
Yep.
So when he starts doing that, you pull him up, and you can also bring him to the side, and you can start working the dog where he's working his legs, his body. Then you're getting that motion going, where he's learning how to use his body with the bite and the equilibrium and the balance, where he's well balanced, pull you off balance, keep his balance, and put you on the defensive. So he's on the offensive. Even though it looks like he's on the defensive, he's controlling the fight.
Right. And that's what you're trying to teach them. Is the way they win, and dogs want to win just like horses want to win a race. Mike Tyson wants to beat that. What's that young guy he didn't beat the other day?
I don't know.
Anyway, so what we're doing, and you'll see, and I hope we're going to have all these in a video. We'll play it over. If you have it, I'm going to try and play it here. You'll see how the dog's using their legs. Now, here's the purpose. If you want to call and argue about something, or if you want to come on the air and argue, I'll be more than happy. Face to face in a conversation, we'll put you on the phone and let you talk. But if you just want to complain that your way is the right way and this other way is the wrong way, you're talking to the wrong person. Okay. Every technique has a purpose.
Whether it's our technique or yours.
Yes,
I've
absolutely.
never sat here and knocked anybody's method of training.
Nope. Because everybody's got their own goals in their training. And my biggest complaint is the people that see a video clip of a dog doing something that someone's putting up. There's two reasons to put up video clips of your dog training. To brag on your dog, ain't nothing wrong with that. Or to inform other folks of a technique or method that might help them. And that's a good thing as well, right?
If you show that one take, show it 10 takes before that he didn't do it
Right.
the right way.
Right.
I mean, you're seeing a lot of people posting, and it's great.
Yeah.
But you got to work all the way through it.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're not for you. Maybe we're not for you, or if you're learning something, you do. But appreciate. I don't want to hear anybody else's negativity.
Right.
That's not what
right.
this is about. This,
Yeah.
this ain't a pissing match, okay?
Yeah,
Let's just get it out. Let's just say that. Okay?
This is educational.
Yeah.
You may not like the way we're doing the educating, but the state of Texas thought I did a pretty good job for about 20 years. And
Man, it's a big state.
and that's a big state, yeah. So what we're trying here's what I learned with the guard dogs. If you have a dog coming in, especially this biting on the bicep, in the first place, nobody's going to stick their arm out and invite your dog to chew right there. They're just not going to do it. In the second place, in an actual fight, man against dog, 8 out of 10 people are going to fold immediately. There's a psychological factor to being in the jaws of an animal that just, it's very difficult for us to resist. I mean, we just go to pieces. So even untrained dogs, if they'll go bite even with their front teeth just real hard or kind of hard, the odds are pretty strong that the human is going to immediately go, oh my God, I've been bit, I've been bit. Where you run into problems is when you have, especially personal vendettas, divorces, business partners breaking up, fighting over a business. That was my most dangerous customers always. These are the kind of people who are dead set on causing and inflicting harm, and the dog's just something that's in their way. They'll fight back. Now, Muhammad Ali did real good rope-a-doping up against the ropes. But you know what? If your dog was in that close with you over the top of him and you can grab his collar, you can pick him up like this and kick him. If it's a male and the testicles, there's a dozen ways at least a man can come out on top fighting a dog. And this is what the pros from Mexico taught me. The professionals who were breaking in for big bucks knew and told whoever worked with them how to fight a dog. And the first thing they want to do is bring the dog in as close as they can to their body.
Restrict the dog.
Yeah.
His actions.
Yep.
Immobilize. You don't got to worry about nothing but the teeth. Right?
Yep. That's it. Everything else is out.
Once you get by his mouth, it's over for the dog.
That's it. His only weapon's neutral.
Unless he uses his legs.
What are you doing going back and
The
forth?
dog's going bananas here.
So, again, I don't care if the dog's going for a leg, you got two hands. This is your biggest advantage over a dog. So, we want to train our dogs, like Scott's saying, we want to teach them how to hit with those front feet out. You go back and look at every YouTube video you can find on YouTube, I would be willing to bet dollars to donuts that you won't find, you might find one, but you won't find two videos where dogs hit, if they're going for upper body, where they hit the bad guy and their legs are out in front of them, punching the guy in the gut. Every time they jump, they're going to be jumping like this and their feet will be hanging. When you give me a dog on my arm that's hanging right there, and remember what I said when I started this, anytime I learn something, I'll give reference to who taught me. Anything else I say is something I have personally experienced, not something I watch someone else do. But let me tell you, if you get me put a dog on my forearm, it's going to be just a matter of about 3 minutes, depending on the size of the dog, before the dog's dead. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
On your forearm?
Huh?
On your forearm?
Yeah, that's guaranteed success on my part. Unless if you get a properly trained dog, and I can again show you examples. Scott's seen some of them. You get that one reason you want a full mouth bite, even in a guard dog. is because if they hit that forearm hard enough and they're strong enough, they'll rip tendons, which will disable that hand. Once you've disabled that hand, you're down to one. Dog is definitely going to win that one. So there's the first thing we want to concentrate on is a full, hard bite. Then we want that dog to learn how to push that man away and put distance between him and the thief. If you've got enough distance, if that dog jerks you out of position like this,
It's over.
yeah, you're going to reach for him, and he ain't going to get you, period. And while he's pulling away, natural instinct for a dog when he's trying to bring down bigger game is to shake and tear. And I understand, don't get on me about this. A nice, calm, full bite, if that's what you want and that's what your sport demands, go for it. On the street, I'm sorry, I don't want a nice, full, calm bite. That's just going to put a lot of clean punctures. I want a dog doing some damage to whoever he's trying to stop and at least take away one or two of his weapons, period. So we're going to work on teaching, starting with our young dogs, we're going to teach them how to lead with their feet, how to punch a man hard, and then if they do bite an arm and they're holding the man's holding them up, use those feet to punch him and get him bent over, and then with their 4 feet on the ground and his one arm in their mouth, they're in control of the situation. And that's what we're looking for. So.
And you start throwing in kicks, and they start dodging. And,
Yep.
Because you got to try to use real life scenarios, right?
Yeah. And then you go to once your dog's up to where he can fight, not bite, fight. Then you start putting up your scenarios to throw different things at him. And I don't care what anybody says about, well, I want my dog to, I just want him to be calm and go bite just here, just here, just here, I have never in my life, and I used to watch a lot of boxing, try it every now and then, I've never seen a successful boxer, or even a failing boxer, twice, go into the ring with just one punch. Jab, jab. You don't do it.
There's repetition on bite work for development. The developmental phase of training. That's phase one. A lot of people don't get past phase one. A lot of people are happy their dog's biting us. Oh my God, he's biting asleep. Oh my God, I got a guard dog. No, you don't. It's part of it'll work.
Yeah. But
when it comes down to it, you got legs. There's 2 arms and 2 legs.
Yep.
There's a torso, there's a back. And there's many ways a dog can take you out if trained. We'll start incorporating leg bites, then using the legs and or a suit, and go to a suit and start doing leg bites and stabbing motions, and even dog will block, and there's a whole slew of things that develops off that one bite.
Right.
And step one is to get a dog to clear and put you on the defensive, like we're talking about now.
Yep. And you can think to yourself, well, that's the exception. That's not the kind of robber I'm worried about. But let me tell you, you'd be surprised how good some of the little punks are. And then when you get to the top echelon, I know we've all heard in the news lately about the supposedly South American gangs that are coming up here, organized to hit the homes of Mahomes, Joe Burrow. They're casing them. I guarantee you, those guys know what to do if a dog bites them. They know how to handle it. I also guarantee you that if they start casing that joint and they find a big old dog, they're not going to try. So these are all the things we're going to try and talk about, and things you may not have seen or thought about. We've got some video. We showed some of this. We're going to try and put in clips to illustrate what we're saying, make it more clearer, and then see if we can't help somebody with their dog training.
Yep. Maybe give someone some ideas, huh?
Huh?
Some ideas or some concepts of how it works.
Right.
Because it happens fast out there. I've never had a dog bite anybody. My dog's never bit anybody. Never alerted too much, a couple times, but nothing.
Right.
But if you get to that, and it don't happen often, but if you get in that position, you need to be trained and you need to be ready and you need to stay calm and your dog needs to know what to do.
Yep. Stay calm is important. I'm glad you said that. Because your dog's going to get more excited. If he gets too excited, he's just like any good fighter. He's going to make bad decisions, and where he needed a jab, he's going to throw a right cross, and he's going to get decked. So we will continue this with more video and more unseen stuff, and see what you think in the next few weeks. Please leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about it.
Yep.
Good, bad, or indifferent. We don't care. We just appreciate it. Right now,
Harry's over there, it's all about the dogs, but right now it's all about Butch.
yeah,
There we go there.
I got some
You
doggy
saw-
perfume on me. I think.
He's sizing them up.
Don't hike your leg, buddy. Don't.
And he won't. You better not, right?
What else you got, Scott?
That's about it, man. But like I said, it's, training, practicing, building something personalized to what you need. And I think we have the resources and techniques that may help you or may not. But either way, it's all about the dogs, right? We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week. Say bye-bye.